Day Baba friends. We're
Hello.
revisit a recent Meherabad trips. Angela will start.
I just thought I would kick us off. So of course, a lot of people have been asking how my trip was and all of that. So I thought, well, let's make a meeting. And then I thought, oh my God, I met so many people there. And of course, we just missed so many people. And then all these people were there last fall. And then I thought, well, let's just make a meeting for everybody. So this meeting is for folks who want to share about recent trips to Meherabad, so it's not just limited to Westerners, it's everybody. I wanted to say first off that for Cliff it was more recent, his last trip, but for me it had been 14 years. So there's a lot that's the same, there's a lot that's different, and yeah, so the samadhi is the same. Baba's there, the sweetness is there, the way you take darshan's the same. All of that is just so wonderfully the same that that was very worth it. So 14 years ago, I got so sick with a digestive thing, and you know how it is in India, you don't just get a little bit, runny. No, no. It's both directions, you know what I mean? And explosive and bed bound and dehydration and all of that. So yeah, I was a little passive aggressive about going back, I have to say. But it felt like I really had to be there, for Baba, of course, but for all the Baba Zoomers. And I put the word out, and a bunch of regular Baba Zoomers did come. It was so amazing to see people, regulars, that I've seen so much on the internet, and then to see them in person was just like mind blowing, so warm, so loving, so much fun. You're gonna hear from some of them soon. And yeah, it was great. Riding the bus to Meherabad with Roshni by my side, and we're like, laughing and partying and, like leading the bus and like a couple of songs. It was so much fun. So yeah, it was short, sweet, did everything. Cliff didn't do it, but I climbed up to the top of the Seclusion Hill, We did RT every day, twice a day. We got to do a dooney. Neither of us had ever done a dooney before, so that was really fun. And I even got some dooney ash and, recent vintage dooney ash, and did the whole works. Oh, of course, had a concert. So the concert was just so much fun. So much fun. I was just feeling so heart open and yeah, I was feeling very heart open, and then Baba Zoomers were joining, and it was just, oh, what an amazing, full of light experience. Yeah, so my debut on the Meherabad stage, but it was great. It was really great. Yeah, so happy to pass it along to someone else, and I'll listen in. If people want to digitally raise hand, very welcome to share.
I want to just add that Roshni was your MC. Wonderful. The two of you.
So that was very last minute. She was like, "Oh, who's emceeing? I'll do it." And it was just great. I gave her the list, and she went around and she asked everybody, what song they're gonna sing. And she added so much sparkle. She's just such a party animal. I have to say, of all the people that I've seen on Zoom and, recorded, she was the one that surprised me the most because, you see on Zoom that everyone's sort of like, whatever height they are. I literally had no idea. She was my height, and I'm short, just for those who haven't met me. So I was surprised by that because I don't know, I just had a picture of her as she's such a larger than life personality, so I just had a picture of her being a taller person, and it is really funny. Cliff was even like, I think she's an inch shorter than you. Yeah, someone shorter than me. Oh, it was so much fun though. She's a blast, and being in India with so many people that we knew, is so great. It's just such a wild thing to experience, you know? Yeah. All right.
We have some people with hands up. Shall I proceed, Mayhair?
Jai Baba. Okay. I was so happy I met Angela. It was my dream to go this thing. I had just said I have to go. Immediately she told me she's coming to India. I said, fine, whatever happens, I leave everything to Baba. He has to take me there to Meherabad. And immediately I said to Yasmin and Anaita, come on, off we go. So when I reached Meherabad, I first said, will Angela be, will she recognize me not? And as I went first to the Samadhi, Cliff saw me. He recognized me first. And I went there and I was standing in the queue. And then I said, okay, I better see. And then I saw Angela sitting. I said, afterwards, I'll go and meet her. And it was such fun. Her concert and meeting Angela was a dream. It was so lovely. I really, this thing, it was really lovely. That's it. Nothing else I can say, but it was so lovely, this thing. And Jai Baba.
All right, we have a Teresa and who's I'm not seeing her. Teresa, ah, there you are.
Hi. Yeah, I didn't raise my hand. I'm happy to share. I was just in India, as some of you know. Um,
Your friend Angela pointed you out. She must
oh, okay, great.
tell us
Uh,
where you're coming from. Tell us where you
so
just
I'm in Montreal. I'm up in Montreal. There are a few Baba lovers here. I'm very good friends with Gracie Maytan. Her parents, Ron and Mary, have been to India many times. So there's a nice community here. But yeah, I was just in India for the first time.
wow, first time.
Yeah, for the first time. Sorry, my battery is running low. Yeah, it was sort of a long time coming, but I had a very profound experience with Baba, where I was sort of called to Baba under a year ago. It was last spring, actually, and it was quite monumental. And within a few months, I was in Myrtle Beach. I went there last summer in June, and the thing that struck me the most is, you know, everyone I met, first of all, thought they already knew me, which was a wonderful feeling. Everyone's like, you've been here before, right? And then the next thing everybody said was, when are you going to India? Which, like, I had just traveled all the way down to South Carolina. Like, the idea of going to India was so beyond me. But then just a few months later, I think it was October, Barbara Shower invited me along to India on her trip that she was planning. And I was sitting on the couch downstairs and I turned to my husband, who was, you know, there with my 8-year-old son. And I said, can I go to India? And he said yes. And then I didn't really believe him. So I asked again a few days later, you know, about that India thing. And he said yes. And so I bought a ticket to India back in October, um, very charmingly Canadian and naively forgetting that I needed a visa to travel to these places. And unfortunately, at that time, completely unbeknownst to me, there was a bit of a diplomatic dispute happening between India and Canada, and India was not issuing tourist visas. So I was sitting on this ticket to India. We, you know, found out and placed it in Baba's hands. And sure enough, I think it was probably sometime in December. They didn't completely reverse the ban, but they did start issuing e-visas. And so I scrambled to get the application together, and it's actually still sitting right here my hard-fought e-visa. So that came through, and I was waiting on some pretty significant health information, and I got the go-ahead from my team of doctors. Um, and yeah, so then I went to India. And I'm still sort of unpacking that whole experience, but I've traveled quite a bit. I was an exchange student in Turkey, and I went to Spain with my school, and Gracie was there. I've done some traveling, but India has absolutely knocked every other country I've visited out of the water. Um, it's I struggle to find the words to describe how incredible that experience was. Like I said, I'm still unpacking it. I got back, and then immediately a bunch of my exchange student friends came to visit. So I was cooking up idli and sambar and roti, and I've been making the NPR breakfast potatoes. So I've been trying to share the experience as much as I can with everyone, but it defies any sort of explanation right now. But highlights were definitely waking up at 5:15 a.m. to throw myself together to get to the tomb for cleaning. I've never prayed for dirt the way I have cleaning the tomb, because it's so pristine that you get the dusting duty, and there's like you're halfway done and you realize that there's only 2 specks of dust, and you think that they're going to think that you're unproductive or something. But yeah, I got that down to a science by, day 10 of cleaning duty at 6 a.m. I say duty, but it was really a privilege. And, each time you come back out, the line is a little bit longer as people are sort of like rubbing the sleep out of their eyes and queuing up for this like incredible experience. I also, Angela, I'm so impressed to hear that you collected Dooney ash. That is very Teresa coded. And I have a new goal for next time I go. I'm going to have to plan my trip around the 12th.
You don't get to collect it yourself. You have to get it
You
from
have
the
to
trust
inquire.
office, or you get it from the trust office, or you get it from JAL directly. And Roshni knew how to do these things, so
That's
you got to know how to do it.
incredible. That's what a phenomenal souvenir. I really do love that.
Oh yeah, it's more than a souvenir. Apparently, people use it for like, blessings, hospital stays, like life-changing medical circumstances, you use it as a sort of like
I was
talisman,
gifted
a blessing.
I was gifted a samadhi cloth that came to the hospital with me for my most recent surgery, and it currently resides like right next to my bed, next to my head when I sleep at night. So I totally understand. These are relics, more than souvenirs, truly.
Oh,
So,
maybe I'll send you some.
oh, well, it also gives me good motivation to get back to India as soon as humanly possible, which is my new, it's the talk of every mealtime, like trying to strategize to get back there this year, which is probably impossible, but I'll be back very soon. And of
Oh
course,
wow, oh
again,
wow. Going
the
back
people
again
I
so soon.
met,
Yay.
yeah, everyone phenomenal. You and Cliff and, the Mira and Claire and Philip and everyone, just Susan, yeah, great people, wonderful times, very touching, exactly what I needed. I didn't really have expectations going. I didn't know what to expect. I've always wanted to go to India, and I never thought it would be in this capacity, but now there's no other way to go anywhere except for with Baba for me. So yeah, I'll be back very soon, and I hope to see some of you there.
Oh, she's one of us now.
When exactly did you go? What were the dates?
I left Canada on February 4th.
Just
4th. And in, true pilgrimage spirit, nothing sort of went as plans. There were missed flights and people evicted from airplanes, which led to, so we finally rolled up to the NPR. I think it was the evening of the 6th. So I'd been in transit for like 48 hours or something. We all had. We were weary travelers by the time we arrived, and we left on the 20th, I believe. So it was a good 2 weeks and a bit. And we did some day trips to like the Elora Caves. We went to Sai Baba's cave. We went to Sakori. We did some very pertinent spiritual travels as well. And again, it was just such a phenomenal experience.
But
Oh,
you missed Baba's birthday.
Yeah, we just, I think the trip was sort of planned to avoid crowds. And I'm kind of happy that it was I'd love to see it thronged with 30,000 people or whatever, but it was nice and intimate, which I really can appreciate. It was good to have that sort of very personal experience. There are times where I'd wander down to the Samadhi at 3 p.m. when it's really hot out, and you'd be there with, one or two other people. And those were some very nice times where you could just sort of gaze into it with an unobstructed view and just really savor the atmosphere.
oh, what a great story. Wow. And you did well. You did it all. It sounds like.
Yeah. That's why I say it's not fully unpacked yet. I'm sure if there's another one of these meetings in like a month or two, I could probably speak for 7 hours, but yeah, it was just incredible.
Thank you so much, Therese.
Thank you. Jai Baba.
Let's see. Angela has pointed out that Dinku, it's late night for Dinku. So Mike, I'll come to you next, but let's let Dinku go so she can go to bed. Dinku? You are muted, Dinku.
Sorry, Jai Baba, everyone.
Baba.
And Angela, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to Meherabad when you were there, but I did finally manage to go for Baba's birthday. It's been 6 years since I've been there, and it was just amazing. It was so good to be back there. And I knew Farishta was going to be there, so I met her. And the surprise was Al Grasso. So it was lovely meeting both of them. I was also, I think, lucky enough to meet Baba's nephew, Sorab. He was there. And just so many people. It just felt like a homecoming again. And the birthday was just marvelous. I can't describe it. We got up really early. I think 4 o'clock. We had to be there at the Samadhi at 4:30 in the morning. And the queues were long, but we all made it through. And then the play, The Promise, that was also wonderful. So all in all, it was a great trip. And Angela, I hope next time you're down, we can meet up. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and just day before yesterday, was it day before yesterday? On the 6th, yep, Farishte and Janaki were to travel back to the US. So I told them, I said, if they wanted to just come over and, spend some time before they had to go to the airport. So they did. And it was wonderful to have them over. And, we had dinner together at home. And then I took them to the airport. And I can't wait for the next time. Oh, yes. And Farishte very sweetly brought me a garland from the Samadhi. So I still have it. It's drying out now, of course, but it's going to be a keepsake for sure. So Jai Baba.
Thank you, Dinku. Wow, wow, it builds the energy builds. You're bringing it all to us. Thank you so much. I know you had a good time with Al too. You and Al.
Yeah. Betty, he was so confused he couldn't log on to that thing. Every time he'd see me or Farishte, he'd come with his phone and say, now, how do I do this? And this is not happening. It was funny, but it was good. It was good fun.
Oh, yeah, we're working on it still. Thank you, Dinku. Now, Mike, you've been patient.
Whoops.
You are muted now, Mike.
Oh, there we go. Having some trouble with unmuting here. They must have changed the rules. I don't know if this is the time for questions and answers, but I just had a question for you, Angela. Is it okay to jump in like that?
Oh yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. We haven't been there since 2000, and you said you were there in 2014, and I'm just curious as to
No,
comparison.
2010
2010. Okay.
was my last. Cliff has
Well,
been twice, whatever.
how would you compare that trip to this trip?
I was sick as a dog last trip.
Oh, that's right. You did say that.
I didn't do much of anything. I will
What
say that pollution seems a lot worse in the
pollution is
14
worse
years.
now?
Yeah, it's so much worse. I really feel like in the past, you'd get to Nagar and it'd be like you're in the country and you felt like, the air cleared up. But man, this time everything is so polluted. The
Oh,
Everyone's buying cars and it's like, you hardly see you the last trip I went, there were two wedding processions, like coming and going, there were wedding processions on the street with the whole like, colorful clothing and the, you would still see like an occasional horse cart. Now there's no horses, there's no processions down the street. They're all highways now, they're bumpy highways. They don't make highways to go faster. They make highways so you can bypass stuff, but you still have these gigantic bumps. So like so India is building right, left, and center. They're building bypasses, overpasses, underpasses, triple triple underpass, whatever. Like they're building everywhere and their cars everywhere and the the pollution is insane. The dust is not great at this time of year. So ironically, when we got home to our not vacuumed house, it was like, oh my God, our house is so pristine. So so there's
what,
that. So those
what
are the
about
sorts of changes I saw, but the Samadhi is still a Samadhi and Baba lovers are still Baba lovers and the NPR was wonderful. And the food is exactly the same, except I'll tell you this, the huge change. Everyone's gonna laugh. Donuts were on Thursday, not Friday. Oh my God.
yeah, donuts are the big thing. I
Donuts
understand.
on Thursday. What are you talking about? Everyone will laugh when you've been there, you know what I mean, because it's hilarious, donuts on Friday and popcorn on Monday. I mean, like this is so memorable. The whole menu has not changed in the 14 years. And, I remember when I went 14 years ago, that hadn't changed from the time before. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's still that breakfast that has the French fries. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had French fries? Wait
One
a
of those
minute.
breakfasts is French
I
fries.
thought you had to take care of your tummy.
Yeah, well, yeah, that,
What
that,
about
Nicola tell you about their trip to India. Oh, excuse me.
oops,
oh,
excuse me,
what
he says.
what about the military presence? Has that been really um,
We
present?
don't notice the military presence, but being kicked out of Lower Meherabad has affected so many people. So for us, we're staying up by the Turmeric, so that part, oh, that was cornbread. Cornbread was not missing. There's still cornbread.
Mm.
Um, so that was in the chat, sorry. So the military presence, we didn't feel it. We were there a short time, but they did make it that a lot of inconvenience happened to residents. For us who are staying as pilgrims, we could visit. There were these quote unquote tours on Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays and Saturday. Anyway, whatever day it was, and the tour was not a tour. We got there on our first Wednesday and we're like waiting on the porch. There's like six of us and we're like finally one of us goes up to there's somebody in the office, you know, there at the MPC, and that person was like, what's going on, you know, or is there a tour or whatever? And the guy said, no, Johan was there. Johan said, no, you just walk around. We just call it a tour because, you know, that's what the government needs for us to say, is that Westerners are under supervision, but they're not really under supervision, you know. They're not like, you know, watching us and keeping track of all our motions. So it's not like that, you know, it's not like they've moved in and they're like camped out. No.
Okay.
But yeah, there are so many folks who lived in Lower Meherabad who got completely shifted. They either have to live with somebody else in Upper Meherabad. I know Sharon Muir has had to move back to the US because she got kicked out of her house, you know. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm sure the Oppenheimers will have more to say about stuff like that.
But there is a samadhi. Samadhi's the
The
same.
samadhi is the same and beautiful. There isn't the sitting in the samadhi, you know, sitting inside the tomb, but there is sitting outside of it, and then you can take darshan multiple times throughout the time between artis. So there's all of that, but yeah, no sitting in the samadhi, like, you know, how we used to sit
Yeah,
six at a time. You
right.
can't actually sit inside the samadhi. But you know what? Got to be grateful for what we got, because during COVID, you couldn't even go in, right? So
Yeah, right.
Betty, mute. That I can hardly hear anything. See if it helps.
Are you done?
Yeah.
sorry, I can put myself on a different microphone. I think that's the problem.
Original
I was
sound.
trying to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Or turn on your original sound if that will help. Well, thank you, Angela. Thank you for that update.
Angela, I was trying to put the menu, the whole week's menu in the chat, but for some reason I can't. It's not going through. So I thought maybe people would like to see it.
Oh, that's hilarious. You actually have a menu?
Yeah, I think I can WhatsApp it to you, but I can't put it.
That's hilarious. I didn't even know there was like a published menu.
Oh yeah, it's right there up on the board in the dining hall. You know where they put the tea?
That's
Just
great.
up there.
That's so funny, actually.
I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
All it says
Okay.
is donuts, though.
Oh, send it to Jay.
then-
Jay's like the local expert on all the Westerners seem to know to find him and ask him how to do things.
Oh,
And I
okay,
didn't
well,
know that, and I should have known that. And I would have done a couple things different if I'd known. Thank you, Jay. But that's cool that there's an app. Oh, look at that.
Hi,
The menu is actually.
There's an app. It's called Meherabad Recipes.
Oh my God, that's
Heather
amazing.
and Emily Robertson helped with it, but they have some English typos and all that. But you can download it. It has all the meals and the recipes and things from the NPR.
That's really funny, actually. Do the Oppenheimers want to talk about changes in Lower Meherabad and how that's affected you all residents?
You want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Well,
A lot.
we're residents, and so we have, we just got back from 4 months of being there, and being there through Amatithi and Baba's birthday. And by the way, anybody who wants to see the play, it is on YouTube.
The Baba birthday play.
Yeah, it's on a streaming. I don't know. Angela, you probably know the link, right?
Yeah, I can get that to you if you
Yeah,
want.
and it's the play was about 2 hours. So but it's very well recorded, and so if you want to see it, that's there. So we just got home. We just got back late Wednesday night, and we've been kind of sleeping and crashing and adjusting and all that. So we're not quite with it yet, but it is quite different. The experience is quite different being a resident versus, coming for a couple of weeks. And one of the things that the changes down in Lower Meherabad, it's not just Lower Meherabad, it's all the way down past the VRDE gate. And it actually, you can go into Arrangown on the other direction. But for example, we can't go to the ATM, the State Bank of India ATM, which was very convenient for a lot of people.
And the vegetable and that.
We can't shop down in any of the shops, Ashok store, Malganga store, and all the stores down there. We can't shop there. We're not allowed to get out of the car. The Darbar, if you're familiar with the Meher Darbar, that is almost completely closed. He opens it up at Amartithi, but most of the time it's completely closed. So it's affected a lot of the businesses down there as well. We can't go to restaurants down in that area. We can't really get out of the car in that area. There are a lot of cameras on the road. So if you do stuff, and also there are a lot of security cameras around the Samadhi. So I just want to warn anybody who, just warn you that there's some security cameras all around the Samadhi, and everything is recorded. So just be aware of that. And the security cameras on the road down there. So there's a lot of, most of us really can't get down. The Wednesday morning and Saturday morning for 2 hours is the only time we're allowed to go down to Lower Meherabad. And that is quite significant if you live there, because most of the time you have other duties and you can't work down there. Jim had to move his whole chiropractic practice up actually into our house, up in by down where the NPR is. And so there's just an awful lot of changes. I don't want to get into.
I want to interject, and there are a lot of changes, but the atmosphere around the Samadhi and Upper Meherabad, I mean, it's not any different than it's been all along.
No,
so
that's true.
All of that she's saying, it really doesn't affect folks that are just visiting too much. What can I say? But everything else, it's that sweet atmosphere that hasn't changed at all.
It's very powerful. The atmosphere is even actually in some ways even more powerful. It was incredible. Amartithi, even though there were less people, and there were a lot less people, the atmosphere was very sweet. It was a very sweet energy. And Baba's birthday, it was very powerful. Also, one thing I would really share with everybody, and then I'm going to stop talking unless you have questions, is that a lot of the older residents, are in their late 70s and 80s and everything, and they're really not able to do all the things that they were able to do before. So if you want to come and do some service, I would say sooner than later, because we don't know what changes will be in the future. And a lot of the young Indians that are taking over all of the positions of responsibility and everything, they're making an awful lot of changes. And it's not exactly the way, but they also can use a lot of help. So this is a really good time if people want to come for 2, 3, 4, 5 months at a shot, to come and do some service. It's a really good time. There's always
stuff to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of work, and it really falls on very few of us to do it. So
my impression was that a lot is being taken over by Indians, where, so much used to be done by Westerners. And at the Samadhi, Kathy mentioned this, that, those who are sharing are way more Indian. There used to be so many Westerners that it'd be like one Westerner, one Easterner, and they'd be like back and forth like that. Now there's just so many Indians who are sharing, and far fewer Westerners are at the Samadhi and at the Yarti. So There's
Well,
definitely,
that's true.
for the
And
Americans, that's definitely a big change
yeah.
because,
And one thing I want to say about that is that the younger Indians that are taking over a lot of the duties, they were not trained the way that we were trained by the Mandali. They don't understand how, for example, Mera did things in Baba's cabin. They don't clean it the way that we used to clean. Now I have, one of my duties is, when I'm there on Friday, I clean Mani's tomb and the cabin, and I manage the cabin for Amartithi. I'm the manager, but what I notice is that some of the people that are involved with that are not maintaining the kind of the way that we did it, because that was how Mara did it, and they don't know. Another duty I have is giving a tour of Baba's kitchen and Mara's kitchen, Baba's bedroom, I'm sorry, and Mara's kitchen up around the Samadhi as well. And I know, for example, that a lot of the people that give the tour, they don't know the stories. They don't have the stories to share. And then I clean Mara on Mondays. When I'm there, I get up at, whoever said that, I get up at 5 and I get down there by 5:30 and I'm cleaning Mara. Again, some of the people don't have the how we did it, going back to, right after Mara passed, and how we were trained to do it. So there is a little bit of a loss there as the Indians take over there. I think we're just trying to educate enough of them to understand.
Too much.
Huh?
You're going too far.
Oh, I'm giving too much. He says I'm talking too much. So the last thing is, we're trying to help educate them, to pass on the traditions.
yeah, that's a very tricky subject right there.
Thank you,
I know that
Barbara.
the Meher Center has to deal with that too, and it's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yep. Yep.
That was very informative, Robin. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There's a level of detail that the Mandali gave the trainings that is a challenge to keep up, to pass on, for a number of reasons. But I think that's the thing that's being addressed. It's very, very difficult to pass on that level of detail and that level of care.
Yeah,
That.
absolutely.
They've done a really
And
good job in Meherabad. I mean,
Yeah.
Casey and Shelley, but again, they're getting
Yeah.
older, and they rely on, some of us who are a little bit younger to do it and everything. So again, I'm just saying, this is the time where the older people are
and from a younger point of view, I haven't met all those Mandalay and followed in their footsteps in the same way. And it's the same here, Kitty and Elizabeth, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And as a younger person, you chafe at the way things have always been done because that's just some arbitrary thing, It's a hard balance. I can understand how that's going to change things no matter how you slice it
Yeah.
when the younger folks
Somebody
start.
just sent me a message about cleaning and doing it with, love and care and everything. And that's how I was trained. I was trained,
Yeah.
by the ones, I mean, when after Mara passed and all that, I cleaned the Samadhi originally with Mansari, then I cleaned with Rhoda Mystery, then we cleaned with Dolly for years. We cleaned with Dolly. And now I think they're keeping the tradition in, actually, the Samadhi, because Amrit is leading that. But we're trying, but anyway, I'll stop. But thank you.
Maybe I could read Sunover's, she made a good point. She said, Robin, perhaps you could make a video. You could make a video about the way it's inside the tin cabin to demonstrate how Mayra did it. Which is, I think, a great thought. Yeah, this is from Sunover in Bombay.
Right.
Yeah.
And just remember that there's a lot of political underpinning of all this. So I have to be careful.
Whatever. You're working with people. I mean, and Baba would do that all the time.
But I'm
he
happy to
would-
show anybody, and we'll be back in India in November, November through March. And I'm happy to show anybody, but I have to be really careful.
Well, Jay has been waiting incredibly patiently. I'd like to, Jay?
Can I address some of this? I went back to India the first time after 12 years, and I went with Teresa, who this is her first time, and it was I'd like to just address some of the things that that were being said about for the new group of people who are coming into the center. It's way more international. It's so international. Back when I was going there 30, 40 years ago, they used to sing happy birthday in English to the 10 or 8 Americans who were there. You'd get your happy trails to you send off because there were only 8 or 10 Americans and you all knew the song. I was with Teresa. She'd never been there before. And I got to see the Samadhi as it is today. I got to see India as it is today. And it's not what we old guys experienced. It's not the old guard. There's Indians everywhere. They are coming in floods. They are trying to understand and learn and see things, and they're seeing them for the first time, and they're seeing them differently than we saw them 40 years ago. And it's not a wrong thing that they're doing stuff different because they're different. And it's not a wrong thing that they weren't trained by the Mandali because they weren't trained by the Mandali. They're seeing what they got to do themselves. And it's wonderful. Ahmednagar is crazy. It's so crazy. You go down to MG Road, you cannot walk down MG Road. There's zillions of motor scooters zipping past you. I got run over maybe twice and I was paying attention. It's crazy. The roads, when I first went there, the roads were, you'd have on the right, you'd have people walking, then the bicycles, then the ox carts, then maybe a scooter go by every once in a while, and then a truck, and oh my God, a truck's going by. Oh God, a truck. Now it's just zooming. It's all these little SUVs zooming, these little Indian things going down the road. It's quite different, and it's a lot of fun. It's not what the old guys saw. I'm going to Teresa every 5 minutes. This isn't the way it was when I was here. But it's wonderful to see that it's not sitting still. I was worried that with the fall off of the Americans getting old and tired and sick and stupid, that it was going to die. And in fact, the opposite is happening because the Americans are not the main thrust these days. Everybody's participating. I got a chance to sing like twice at the Tomb. I couldn't believe. And one time when I tried, I started coughing and everything. It was very depressing. But Beverly was there singing every day. That was nice. And I got a chance to meet people that I had never even imagined existed. I hung around with a group of 10 or 12 people from Shiraz in Iran, which is where Hafiz is buried. And they were wonderful. They'd sit in the dining hall after dinner and sing one right after another, to introduce a new song, and they'd all sing together these beautiful songs. I got a chance to meet Mona, which is one of the highlights of my trip. And I also got a chance to see Angela go in, and every person from Bombay and India in the entire Meher Centers, like rushing to give Angela a hug. Oh my God, it's Angela. Oh, I want an autograph. It was fabulous. So I had a wonderful time. It was so different than what I expected. For one thing, Teresa's out there walking 15, 20 miles a day just to show off. And I'm trying my hardest to keep up with her. I don't know. These kids today. I was so happy about it. I'm so happy to be able to share my joy at having done it. It was a delight to be there. It was just a delight. So I'm done.
By the way, no autographs were given.
Oh, Cliff was handing his out. Cliff was giving them to everybody.
Dang, I should find out how much you charged.
Oh,
Well,
that's awesome.
Angela, how many selfies did you take with people? I would guess 40, 50.
I didn't take any of them. Other people took them. You asked me how many I took. I didn't take any of them. I will say that you're right. The younger generation have come in with a lot of technology. You know, the Dooney has like there's a camera that's just like set up. Like obviously the Dadar family started a lot, but now the trust is kind of overrun with cameras and all these little things, and you can press a button, you get the Samadhi live for like 12 hours a day. It's cool. It's
I do
also
have to
very
mention,
modern. Yeah.
I do have to mention one thing, which I did not expect. Some guy came up to me. I'm sitting there talking to, I don't know, Teresa or somebody. Some guy comes up and says, I want you to light the Dooney fire. Really? I thought it was just me, but it isn't. So they had about 8 or 10 of us kneeling down around the Dooney fire. And let me tell you about the Dooney fire. I just assumed it was done with like some kindling. They take little cups of white gas and stick them on sticks and stick the sticks into the wood pile. And then you have to kneel down and lean your head over, and somebody takes out a lighter and goes poosh, and the fire just goes, "Wah!" And I'm thinking like, oh my God, is my hair like in the fire? Am I gonna burn up? And no, it was okay. But then we had to actually start throwing our sticks in. And that was another bow down, throw your stick in. I'm going like, this fire is making my face hot. I'm burning. It was very intense.
Yeah, I think that's ghee. It's not just any old, but it's also a
It
little
was
piece
not
of
ghee.
no?
There may be ghee, but that stuff smelled of gasoline like
Oh,
mad.
okay. And then it's real sandalwood and everybody gets one. And then when you stand in line, you get close to the Dooney, they dip it in that stuff and yeah, it burns right away. But that's what the ash is like real sandalwood ash. So that's interesting, you know what I mean? Like it all makes sense to me now that I see the overall picture that they actually do give that ash out and so it's precious. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jay. What you make it all sound so much fun. Mike, you have more? A comment?
Yeah. Jay, I'm glad you brought that up because it's something I heard before about the young Indians flooding Meherabad now, and that's what's puzzling me. I mean, what brings them? You know, we know what brought us old timers, but what brings the Indians? And I understand that like Robin said, they know very little about the things that were done in our time and even respect and things like that. They seem to be coming without any of that knowledge. So, what did you get a
Well,
feel for? Did you
Mike,
get a feel for what brought all them to? We came in on a wave, you know, in the '60s, but what what brought them in?
well, the awareness of Mayor Baba is going all over India. It's going all over India, and just going to Shirdi or Alore and stuff like that. We saw little signs about Mayor Baba along the road, and
Wow.
Meher this and Avatar Meher Baba that business. It's present. And for the youngsters, most of the old guard had like a peak event, some event. Baba slammed them, and they had an event that there's a before and after. That's my experience of the old guard Baba lovers. It's my experience myself, and that event was something that we paid attention to. These kids are growing into Baba. They are easing into Baba, and they become more and more aware of Baba's presence, and they share that presence in a much smoother way than the old guard did. I don't want to speak for Teresa because I would love to hear how Teresa, who's new to Baba, experiences this. But this is what I've been seeing a lot. And I've also seen that the Meher Baba Sahavas kids, whose parents brought them up with Baba, have a very different attitude toward other people of their generation who were not Sahavas people. The people who come there independent of the Sahavas are experiencing Baba individually. The Sahavas kids had kind of a group experience, which they share and sort of appreciate. And they are somewhat wary of the new kids who are just coming into Baba without that Sahavas experience. I think we're going to see life change. It certainly changed as far as I was concerned. Seeing these Persians, these Iranians coming in and just loving and owning the sweetness of Baba in a way that I've never seen before. Never seen anything like it. And I just loved sitting around next to him. It was so wonderful to just sit there. It was nice to sit next to Mona. And also I got to spend a lot of time hanging around, sitting right next to Teresa in about 15 different rickshaw rides. So I would love to hear what Teresa has to say about this, if you don't mind my asking.
Jay, can I just ask you, you Sahavas, you mean the young adult Sahavas in India? Is that the Sahavas you're talking about?
I'm talking about the Meher Baba teenager Sahavas
Oh, at
in
Myrtle
Myrtle
Beach?
Beach.
Meher Center, yeah, in the Myrtle Beach.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Teresa,
I feel like you got here a bit late, Jay. I already went on my passionate rant, but I'm sure
well,
there's
I would ask if you saw a distinction between Old Guard and how they approached the Baba stuff versus your own experience of approaching it.
it was definitely a mosaic of, experiences with Baba, some of them, continuing with the same intensity as, back in the 60s and 70s, and some of them, as we witnessed, clinging maybe to experiences that they had and not having a refreshing or a renewal of those experiences. It was really just a whole myriad of responses. But certainly, I mean, like, you and I sat there as that 4-year-old child brought the house down outside the Samadhi, just like belting these songs at the top of his lungs that, he obviously had been singing at home with his parents. And there was just such an earnesty, just like really pure love coming from all the Indians, I think, that I saw. And I, again, we can joke about me being in India in a past life, but it was my first time in this life in India. So I have no point of comparison, but I feel like everything is just progressing very well. Granted, it was disconcerting to not be able to wander around the old Pilgrim Center more. I do understand that, there are things beyond the purview of you know, the NPR that are affecting how some people are able to access some of these really phenomenal sites. And that was disappointing and distressing. You know, I did wander around the village, but was very wary of what was happening on the other side of the tracks. But all that to say, everything else was just really inspiring. And it was so interesting to sit there at the Samadhi and just see the people in the various ways that they, you know, show their love and devotion and paid respect, and everything so different, but done so lovingly. Yeah, it was, I'm with you, Jay. It was just like a very spiritually fulfilling, you know, I just felt really filled up watching everyone's love for Baba. And a lot
Well,
of the
it may not be obvious to everybody, Teresa, that you're about 1.5 feet taller than any Indian at the Samadhi. And one of the things that Teresa liked to do was to sit right in front of the Samadhi door, right in front. And she would just manage to push everybody out of the way. They're terrified of this giant Canadian. And so she got to sit in front of the Samadhi door whenever she liked.
How tall is Teresa?
I'm I'm 5'10", but and I was wearing flat shoes. Yeah, I can make myself a little taller, but you know, modesty.
She wears Doc Martens, which add about 6 inches to her height.
Yeah, but I noticed when you sit right at the entrance of the Samadhi, all of the prayer and the music goes in and then, you know, gets infused with Baba and comes back out at you. So I recommend it. One day, I didn't have to strong arm my way. I was there at the crack of dawn, Jay. I earned that spot at the Samadhi door through my service. But yeah, it was great. I loved experiencing it from all angles. And there were some times where I didn't make it down that, you know, 1.5 mile path fast enough, and I'd have to sort of stand on the outskirts. But even then, there was just this glow coming from the Samadhi. It was like a pleasure to witness it, even from afar. You know, there's certainly a very strong presence there. And I feel like I hope I can assuage people's fears and say that there's certainly still something very sacred emanating from it, and people are kindling that sacred glow, if you will.
Teresa, how were you impressed with the commercialism of Baba's name when you went on the trip? You must have been with Jay. He noticed it and commented on it.
I remember I saw a photo of Meherabad that I think maybe Beverly Smith had posted, and I noticed that it was like a corner store, you know, with Baba's image on it. And I thought, oh, that's unusual. But I do love a good, you know, t-shirt. I'm into that. I think that's a fun way to show devotion and, you know, represent your team, if you will. So I was kind of tickled that I was able to go to a shop and buy a keychain and a pen and, you know, just fun things to get Baba's name out there to my friends. And, you know, my son is only 8, but he responds very positively to Baba's image. So it was fun to be able to bring back some little tchotchkes for him. And certainly, you know, if it's being done with good intentions, I don't think, like, I wouldn't buy Baba stuff off Amazon. I don't think, you know, but certainly supporting the little businesses that operate in the immediate vicinity of the NPR was a delight. It just, again, it felt so loving, and everyone gave very sincere Jai Babas. I think people are doing it from a place of love and wanting to honor Baba.
Thanks, Teresa and Jay.
Yeah.
Sanober has had some comments in the chat. I see you got a hand up, Sanober. Where are you?
Thank you, Betty. Jai Baba, everyone. I'm only speaking. I normally don't speak on recorded programs because, you know, I just don't like to. But then I'm doing this for Angela because I wanted to appreciate how much impact she has had on my life through Baba Zoom. And then, you know, meeting her in person was like a dream come true. And she's even brighter and beautiful and spirited, even more so in person, naturally. So
And
it was
smaller.
a true,
She's smaller.
and
She's smaller than you think.
well, it's you can hardly tell when you just see the first half of her on Zoom. So so it was a real pleasure, Angela. And she takes everything in her stride, which is just amazing. A few hiccups during her uh, program, the music program that she had at Meherabad, with insects coming out of the microphone. I would have bolted from the stage, but she stayed. So you're brave and so accommodating of anything that can happen. So I love that you took everything in your stride, and just a beautiful spirit. So thank you for that chance to meet you, and and all these inputs from everybody. It opens up my eyes to different ways of looking at things in Meherabad now. So I thank you very much. And Robin and Jim, it's always a a treat to meet you guys when I'm there and listen to your stories, and sitting around after meals or tea or something in the dining room is actually one of the highlights of being there. So thank you. Jai Baba. And okay, and Angela, your voice is so beautiful in person, even more so, and so soft. So when I would try to listen to you on YouTube, when you sang at the Samadhi, the live YouTube, it was hard for me to hear because you're so soft. So anybody who's singing softly needs to sit under that big microphone that's in the middle. Thank you, Jai Baba.
So Nober, I thought you had a really good idea about videotaping the various tasks and sort of the old.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's so precious for the younger generation to capture all those ways in which you guys have taken care of things after Mera. There's no way for that knowledge to pass on other than through recorded, videos. So if things are to be preserved the way they are, I think it's very important that you guys take that up. Even in Merazad, I would the three ladies holding fort there, they're so wonderful, Casey, Shelley, and Devana, and I'm so scared of what will happen next. So you guys really need to do something about preserving things. So thank you.
Thanks, Nober. Al.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can't get my screen to join the others, so I don't know if people can see me. Can you see me?
Yes, you're a little. I don't know if you could show your chin. We're seeing that. Yeah, that was good. There you go. That's better.
Yeah, I see myself on a side screen, but I don't see myself included with the others. So I didn't know, but I got a couple of messages from Jim and some other people. So I guess you would see me somehow. But anyway, I wrote a little note kind of encapsulating my trip. I had a great trip. I was a little anxious before I left, but everything turned out perfectly. I thought I had a perfect part in the play, which I enjoyed. And Susie Biddu and I sang a couple of songs at the Samadhi, one of which was How Great Thou Art, which she said was her mother's favorite song. And so all the slots were taken, but she asked me to sing with her. That's how I got to sing at Amartithi. And played a lot of cards. I went over to Joseph's house twice a week and had coffee and cards. And I've never seen so many people interested in cards as I had this trip. There must be 10 people who've never played before want to learn. And so that was fun. And I went to Pune with Raphael on his way back. And one of the twins met us at Baba's house. So I was able to visit Baba's house. I think Baba's house is only open once a week and not for very long. So that was a nice trip to Pune, a short trip. I went to Yezdan Cafe and Hazrat Babajan's tomb.
Al,
And
show
I
us your
hung out with
teeth.
most of the, what?
Show us your teeth.
Oh yeah. I went to the dentist to get my bridge fixed, and we were talking about implants. Next thing I knew, he gave me 7 implants, and 2 days later, he gave me 11 teeth to put on the implants. So it turned out to be a nice trip, all in all.
Oh, they're beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to have somebody show me what I'm doing wrong with this iPhone. My iPad, I keep putting the wrong password, and then it says, oh, try back in a half hour, try back in an hour. Angela gave me a number which might work, but I got to wait an hour before I can test it. Anyway, I feel like I've gone backwards with this technology here. Instead of forward, I'm going the opposite direction. But thank you all for listening. I enjoy seeing you all and meeting people in India who I hadn't met before that I've known
Hey,
through Zoom.
don't worry about
Al?
the technology
Al?
when you can get teeth.
Al?
What's that?
I said that's a
Al?
pretty good trade-off. Sacrifice the technology for teeth.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But
Al?
I think I'm going backwards with this technology myself.
Al,
Yeah.
tell everybody what part you played in the birthday play.
Yeah, I played this guy. Actually, his picture is in Wayfarers. His name was Kishanandaji Maharaj, and Baba sent Pleader to be with him. So Pleader goes there, and this guy is a very charismatic guy. He starts off by saying, "What the hell is going on over there?" And then the assistant comes, "Oh, some Parsi from Bombay says his master said to see you." So, well, send him in, send him in. And I say, "Well, what do you want?" And then he shows me a picture of Baba, and I take my hand to my heart, and say, "Ah, Meher Baba. He's so great that he carries a burden for the entire world." And then it goes on, and at the end, I berate my assistant for not realizing how important Baba is, and subsequently how important Pleader is. Short scene, but complete in and of itself.
Beautiful. You were a great
And
son.
you look marvelous. You
Yes,
wear
you
an
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Yeah, and then they said, "You want to do another scene?" I said, "No, that's enough for me." And they wanted me to change roles. I said, "If I want to get the lines memorized, I'm not going to change." But luckily, they had Charlie Keeler there. He played 4 different roles. So anyway, it was a great play. It's kind of long, about 2 hours, but it's available on YouTube.
The Promise, it's called The Promise.
The Promise. That's right, because Baba promised Pleader God realization, and at the end, he finally gets it. Yeah.
Thanks, Al. That was wonderful.
Thank you, everybody, and I'm glad I got to join you. I
How do you
tried
know
to
he
get on this
wasn't
morning,
just
but I didn't know if I
acting?
could be seen or not.
How do you know he wasn't just acting to save Baba face, Al?
Oh,
Pleader.
thank you.
Yeah.
And hi to Jack Burke if he's on there. Some people were asking about him. I tell them, well, I see him once in a while. I don't know if he's on now or not, but he was on earlier. There's Mona. My sidekick Mona's there. There's Angela laughing.
Okay, let's hear from Mona.
There's Dinku. I met Dinku there, and Dinku was there in India with me while I was there. And a couple of others from Bombay and Pune. Well, Jay Baba to all, and thank you for listening.
Jay Baba.
Thanks, Al. Mona, do you have something to share?
Hi, everybody. Jai Baba. I think this trip I made especially just to see Angela. Since I had never seen her and I didn't know when I would see her again. And since Baba Zoom has been so special and Angela has been such a key, she's everything Baba Zoom does. And I, against all odds, I made it there and got to see her briefly for 5 minutes after Dooney that night, and 5 minutes during breakfast, 5 minutes few minutes post lunch. And it was very, 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 very special. Though I wish I had an opportunity to maybe spend a little more time with her, but I'm very grateful to her and everything that she's done for us over the years. And yeah, and I was lucky to be there from February 12th to 26th morning. We have plans and Baba has other plans. So it's better to surrender to him. He knows best. And the beauty of Meherabad is when you go there, you're just filled with so much of his love. You don't feel like leaving. And when you leave, you wish you were back there. And this trip was special in so many ways that I may not be able to describe. But I felt such a deeper connection with Baba. And my time at the Samadhi was really special, even though there were not that many that I made there. But whichever few ones I had were like really intense. And there's a painting of Baba you see on top of the Samadhi. There was one time when I was inside there, I saw it come alive like a 3D, like Baba's face is just coming out. And then I saw it merging with another Baba lover. And that time was so special and intense. And once at the Samadhi, when I bowed down to the Samadhi, there was a rose petal that touched my third eye, and it was there. And I came back, and that was so special. And just connecting with him and absorbing his love and grace and how he has held space for all of us over the years. And there were some really great blissful moments of peace and silence. And we all go through ups and downs, and he has ways of throwing things at you, so you experience that also. I have been to Meherabad a few times. This time was very different. And it was really nice to see Al. I was waiting to play cards with him since COVID and post-COVID. So it was lovely to play cards with him, though I was running behind him like a puppy dog. Sometimes I love playing cards with him. And it was lovely to see Farishte and Raju and all the Baba lovers. Sanobar, I saw a big shift in her and softness, that just a big change from the last time I had seen her there. And what else? Yeah, I mean, I do understand what Robin says. Every time I go to Meherabad, it's lovely to see Casey, and the love that she emits and gives is just something else, I guess. Even just that one look and a hug that she gives is precious. And it would be so nice if all Baba lovers would be, loving, kind, understanding, and compassionate, and spread his love and grace. And just radiate that. But I guess it's not like that all the time, sadly, whether you're an Indian or a Westerner, it doesn't matter. And yeah, I mean, we were not there during Mani's time, but if shown the way, I'm sure some of us would love to learn and share that love with others. And it was lovely to meet Teresa, though I met her the day she was leaving. And everybody, I think, was so kind and loving and generous, and sharing his love, his name, in different ways. The Iranians were so sweet; they would sing so well. Once, they just played some music and were dancing in their room, and it was so nice to dance and sing with them to their music. There was a time when at MPR at night. They would play music and dance, and it was really, really nice. But things have changed. And yeah, I can go on, but it was really nice to meet everybody from Zoom, Baba Zoom, that in person. I guess when you see people and meet them on Zoom, it's different, and when you meet them live, it's so different. And it was nice to see Jay because he was the chocolate man and he would give me chocolate when I met him. So I told my dad that, and he's like, he wanted some chocolate too. And yeah, I hope that everybody can go to Meherabad and Meherazad and Lower Meherabad and have beautiful experiences, and not worry about anything else, whether they get to go XYZ, because whatever we get itself is like so overwhelming. Though I know that a lot of foreigners have been there and things are different for them, but I guess we're so grateful to God and Baba for everything. And thank you. Thank you. Lots of love to everybody.
Thanks, Mona.
Yeah, Baba.
Good to hear from you. Dr. Jim has a comment.
Hi. It just occurred to me, I was just sitting here, this popped in my head. How should I put the experience I had being there? We were there 4 months this year, but I had never been to MRTC until last year, not this past one, but the year before. And how can I explain? The experience that I got at MRTC that particularly was, well, there was a couple of things. One of them was I dreaded the idea of going to MRTC because of the crowds of things I've been hearing for decades. However, for some reason, after 2 or 3 days of being there on duty, also in the middle of the crowds in the cabin, in Baba's cabin, just crushed with people. For whatever, it didn't matter. And that for me is extraordinary to have that ability and not be upset and freaking out from the crowd and all that. And I think that directly is from the atmosphere. The experience that I'm alluding to is the direct feeling of that the wine shop doors were flown open. The samadhi is it's special, of course, but during MRTC, and this is the only time I've ever experienced this, was the actual feeling of the doors being flown open and the love just being poured out to the crowds. A unique experience. And the same thing happened this year. I wasn't so wowed by it because I experienced it before, but oh my gosh, I mean, I'd have to if I can say this, anybody could say this, but I would recommend somebody to go to MRTC just to experience that dynamic that Baba brings out at that time, where it's not a personal, I mean, it is a personal thing all the time, but this is seeing Baba working with the masses in a very tangible, real way, with this love just pouring out of the samadhi. So that's it.
Wait, before you
Oh.
before you mute me, I have two quick things. One is I really hope that what I said about the changes and everything was not perceived as a criticism, because I was not intending to criticize. I was just intending to say what the difference was and the concern about not, losing the old traditions. But it's not a criticism, because as Jay aptly said, there's so much new energy being infused, and it's a wonderful thing. So I just, having said that, I just also don't want to lose the old traditions, but it was not a criticism. The other thing is, anyone looking for Meherabad recipes, go to the Play Store, the Google Play Store, and put in Meherabad. Okay, he said put it closer.
Yeah, there's a camera.
Yeah. Oh, there's the camera. Okay. Put in Meherabad recipes, and it comes right up, and it has the little red thing
I
that
put,
looks
I
like.
put the link in the chat,
Okay.
and
great.
I can't find one for iPhone.
Oh, it may not be. You know why? Because in India they don't have iPhones. iPhone is an American thing. It's actually for Samsung. That's true. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
I can't even open it because apparently it's for an older version of Android.
Oh, whoa.
And I have a Samsung.
Oh,
There you
sorry
go.
about that.
That's all right. What a trip though to actually have the recipes. That's so funny. I mean, like literally, the menu has not changed in decades. It's hilarious. And the same, like Monday's this, Tuesday's this.
Well, we'll be
They
in,
got popcorn.
You can set your stopwatch to it.
we'll be in
They're
Myrtle
doing
Beach.
popcorn twice a week.
Twice a
We'll
week.
be-
What? That's a change. No, 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 no. I don't believe you.
It's true.
Angela, we'll be in Myrtle Beach from March 21st to April 20th, whatever. I'll
Oh,
show
good.
you on my
Okay.
phone. Get
Great.
there.
See you soon.
Rice and dal and dal and rice and
No,
rice.
no, no.
Dal and dal and rice.
No, 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 no.
What else, Baba?
I did want to say a quick thing. Jay talked about old guard and sort of like, in reference to old guard, there must be new guard, but then what does that make me? I've been with Baba 25 years in this life, and it's like I'm not old guard, but I'm not new guard. Whatever. Anyway, I do have a sense that my experience coming to Baba was definitely smoother than a lot of other folks. A lot of folks have this sort of miraculous like enlightenment of about who Baba is, but mine was definitely slow. Though the involvement with getting involved with community and organizing events, that was really quick. So that's old karma, and I've always been organizing Baba lovers to try to corral them like a retriever that I am. Come in the same room. Let's all talk. So I did want to mention, I totally forgot. I got to visit Roshni's children's center. I think she calls it Children's Center, and simple name. And she has gathered, she has basically like like before the school day, kind of a after school activity kind of center. So I call it after school because that's how I relate to it. But like it's before school. A lot of the kids do go to the Meher English school, but a lot of them don't. Some of them don't even attend school at all. And what she's doing is supplementing with tutoring. She has the younger kids actually get bathed. I mean, like, wow. They get fed a meal. On the weekends, they get a lot more activities. They get like to play music and they play games, and then they have samosas, like gigantic samosas. So I got to visit. I brought my ukulele and I had to kind of shout because they're all screaming. We sang Ustad Dhanyavad together, like they're all screaming and pounding on their drums, and it's so fun. Betty, your friend from Oregon, Meta, she brought a friend. She traveled with a friend,
Matt? Or Julie?
no, a guy,
Matt.
Matt. So he had packed a jump rope and some things for kids, like a puppet. And he was like, I want to see kids. And of course, there's no kids at the NPR. He was kind of like, I was just at a meal talking about, oh, I'm gonna go see Rushni, like Rushni's Children's Center, like in 2 days or whatever. And he was just like blown away because it was a huge longing that he wanted to meet up with some kids and play with them. So he came with me and he pulled out the jump rope. He was like playing with his puppet, and we were like doing this like fun thing together where like I put my finger in its mouth and we're like, ah! And all the kids would start like, ah! It was really funny. So she's doing amazing work. Obviously I didn't get to see what she's doing in Bombay, but that's where she started. And so it's exciting to see that there's different ways that people are outreaching and involving the Arangown folks in more Baba activities. So, on the surface, this is not for proselytization or anything, but they do sing Baba songs and they say Jai Baba with every offering of food, and they say prayers, and a lot of these kids are actually converted Christians, and I had no idea that Arangown was so Christian. So that's interesting. It's just a side thing, just kind of a curiosity. Yeah. So anyway, it was fun. She's got
The school is in Arangown. Is that
it's
right?
it's like a school supplement. Yeah, it's in Arangown, and yeah, they do a lot of really good things. She has 3 Westerners who are basically on visa to volunteer every day, and they take care of their kids. There's one who's just full time on one kid because that kid is some sort of spectrum, pretty severe on the autism spectrum, and that kid's made so much progress, and it's amazing. I mean, they're really able to spend quality time with these kids and get to know what they need in a very meaningful way, and independent of a school structure that has to answer to a school board, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's so much opportunity to supplement. There's always going to be, the organization and the bureaucracy involved with any sort of organization, and then there's us. Baba Zoom is also, very independent, doesn't answer to any organizations or bureaucracy. We're just people getting together and doing stuff. And that makes us nimble, it makes us spontaneous and immediately responsive to the needs of us. So, speaking of which, we're going to be celebrating 4 years of Zooming together next weekend. The party continues. Please come back. Anybody else? There are other folks here who were in India. I don't know if they want to say something. Or if anybody has questions, we're all available to.
I had hoped that Kathy Riley would make it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she was.
But I wanted to let you know she did a wonderful video. She videotaped the whole Meherabad Zad. I believe it's Zad. Anyway, and that video is called, you can Google it, Meherabad. Sorry, just a minute. Let me full screen. A tour of Meherabad dash Meherazad. So you can Google it's a YouTube. So just letting you know that, and the very thorough, and the trust office. She did a good job of documenting all of the tunnel, all the new stuff. She did a good job. So yeah, interesting to hear about the kids, Angela. Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, so there's like 120 kids already.
When
And
you
she feeds them all, and
when you say converted Christians, you mean they were Hindu and then they had some.
I suppose I don't know how long ago the conversion was, I don't. She just called them converted Christians, so.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, this has been wonderful.
Yeah, this was a great meeting. Thank you all for coming and sharing. So exciting.
And of course, it'll be up on on YouTube soon enough. Angela will
I'll
process,
get it up. Yep.
show your friends, and Yeah, what a wonderful, yeah. What a recent, things are different out there, it sounds like. Wow.
Yeah, and the all the construction to go under and over the train tracks, I mean, it's happening everywhere, but it does really make our experience of walking down to Lower Meherabad so different. And to get to the Dooney and to get to the tour, like you just walk. Oh, and the Memorial Tower is on the way, so it's kind of fun to see that and how beautiful that is. Oh, I'll tell you one more thing. So Shashi was there. Shashi is someone who's pretty new to Baba from Myrtle Beach. And one of the things that bonds Shashi and I is that we play ping pong. So I got to Meherabad and he's still there. He was supposed to have left before I got there. So he was still there. I was like, oh, let's find some ping pong tables. There's got to be ping pong around here. Baba loved ping pong. So we ask at the trust office. They say it's at the new site. It's like so original. You got a new site. Now you got to have a new site because we can't think of another name. So so apparently the new site is the Amartithi overflow. There's like just these brick buildings with like some of them only have dirt floors and some of them have stone floors, and people just spread out their bedding and they can sleep there by the hundreds. And there's an actual gym, yes, and there's an actual table. There's two ping pong tables. And the funniest thing is that, the place, the main building that you enter from is called the Pilgrim Education Center. And so here at the Pilgrim Education Center, they have gym spelled JIM. And it's gym number 1 and gym number 2. They did it twice. So, Dr. Jim, I think that belongs to you. I think that you need to claim it. But that's the funniest thing, you know what I mean? At the education center, they very brazenly pull, just like no shame there, named the rooms JIM, and they probably will never correct it, right? I mean, why would they? That would be a waste of paint, don't you think?
Where is this, by the hostels? Where is this?
It's in upper Meherabad. It's probably 2 kilometers, like a mile from the NPR. It's walkable, but it's a dusty walk, and we got rides some of the time too. So we played like 3 times. We got some people interested, and it's the funniest thing because nobody at the NPR had ever heard that they're ping pong tables. So we're telling them, and like the whole story about the new site has to come out. I told that story like 60 times, I think. The new site, and the gym number 1 and the gym number 2.
Well, Baba liked ping pong, right? He played. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. He loved ping pong. I wonder if I can pull up a picture. I have to find it anyway. Yeah, so fun trip and so many folks to meet, and the Samadhi is still special. So
Wow. Thanks so much, everybody.
yeah, thanks everybody. Barbara, you have something to say now that she's appeared?
Well, I guess I'm unmuted.
No.
Now I'm not muted. Hi, Angela, thank you so much for doing this, for getting everybody together. A number of us have been there recently, and I know people who don't go anymore because the Mandali aren't there, but there really is just, looks like I'm underwater. It really is just such a holy place. I mean, the atmosphere there affects us, and we fill up with it. We go home, we may not even realize that happened, but it's like water. I mean, it spills off us when we come home. People feel it around us. It's like a public service to go there and put yourself in that situation and allow Baba to affect you. So, and I was amazed that you and Cliff just bombed in for a week and out again. That was astonishing. The energy it takes to get there. I was just like, awestruck that you managed to figure out and how to just put out maximum energy while you were there. Anytime somebody struck up an instrument, your arms are in the air and you were waving people in to come and dance with you. And it just seems like, yeah, Baba did want us to do that. He didn't want us to sit still and listen to lectures. He wants us to get up and move around and be happy and really celebrate. And so you set a very good example of that. I was really kind of impressed with it. Like, that's a new way to do it. And we all could. I mean, you know, what does it mean actually to be happy? It's not just something that you savor inside yourself. It's something that actually you allow to come through you as well. And in contact with Baba, you can trust it. It's real happiness. It shimmers, it sparkles, just like Indian jewelry. It's very sparkly stuff. And also, I have to say, this time I was especially struck because we went with Teresa, who was seeing it for the first time, how Indian Baba is. That, you know, we think of him as the guy that we know, the one who visited the center and had friends in London and Hollywood and all that. Most of his life, he was really a part of that culture and that location. It's really different from the Baba that I think of when I go to the center, who I love very much and I know is the same one. But India, it's really got its own strong character, and that's part of his life and all the people who lived around him. So I think it's good to get in touch with that and realize that we don't have him in our pocket, that we really don't know exactly who that is. He's not this little cartoon character that we made up. He's really big and he's really strange and wonderful. Jim and Robin, it was really nice to see you there as well. Mona, good to see you again. Wow, we should just like form a club and get together.
That would be Baba Zoom. It's a great big club.
We are the club. This is the club.
And so I have one
wait.
question. You met with Rohit about the movie that he's releasing. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because
No, I have no idea. I mean, he said he would send me a link to a trailer, so.
Okay. Well, the trailer is there. I mean, it's what is it called? Jim knows more than I do.
I don't know anything.
It's about Dr. Hazra. It's the story of you know,
the Tetic.
right.
The Zetetic.
He did a movie. They're actually, you know, he's a professional editor and they did a really high level professional movie and they're releasing it soon in Meherabad, but he wanted to get it out on YouTube and have, you know, an audience and everything. So I'm encouraging him to connect, you know, do it through you and Baba Zoom so we can all see it.
Oh, wow. And who is producing?
Looking at your filter, it's weird. But it's
Who is producing the film?
Well, there's a young Indian, and I say young, you know, how old are they? They must be in their
40s.
In their late 30s or, you know, well, I think they're younger than 40. But anyway, there's a young couple who have moved now full-time to Meherabad, and they are, you know, professional people. And the husband, the young man, his wife does a lot of help at the Samadhi in terms of cleaning and stuff in the morning, and then she does her other business. She's in the business world and everything, and he is in film. And he's a professional editor and director and all of that. And I think his name, I have it, hang on. Shoot, sorry. Rohit or Rochit? It is Rochit. What is this?
Anyway, when the time is right, we'll handle that.
Rochit Gangani, and they did a movie. They did a movie.
Yeah, Mona has her hand up.
There you go. Rochit Gangwani.
No, it's not. That's not how you spell it.
All
But
right, well, whatever.
No worries. We'll get to it. Mona has her hand up.
You're muted, Mona.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself from my phone. Robin, it was lovely to see you in the play. The play was so good this year. I wanted to say that. I forgot to add. It was lovely to see Al dressed up as a sadhu. he, somewhere I thought maybe he looked like Sai Baba at one point, but like it was nice. And the play was really done in a really very professionally, and it was so good. You guys should watch it if you can on YouTube. Maybe we can have a special screening on Baba Zoom. Who knows?
Yeah,
And
already.
no.
We already did it. Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah, y'all did it. Yeah, sorry. And also I wanted to say that I was lucky to be there in Meherabad for Baba's birthday last year and this year, and it was so special this year and last year. If you ever get a chance to go to Meherabad on Baba's birthday, please do. And also I was lucky to go in the Samadhi when they were, around that time at like 5 o'clock. And it was just very, very magical. And I urge everybody, if you can go to the Samadhi and have your time there. I mean, Baba is in all our hearts, but I hope all of you all have some special experiences there. And yeah, and then carry it in your hearts. Thank you.
all right. Shall we wrap up? What's say? Wonderful. Well,
I'd like to share something that we read this week. Mona hosted reading of Lord Maher. This is a little excerpt from the pages we read this past week. And it's 1942, and Baba's in northern India, in the area ranges from Dehradun down to a town called Bareilly, including Najibabad. And all this is contacting Mas with a few of the Mandali men. And nearing the end of a day of traveling and contacting Mas, I'll pick the reading up here. Two other Mas were contacted. Sahanpur is a village just north of the city of Najibabad, like a couple of miles. And two other Mas were contacted at Sahanpur. Baba vomited 3 times, once before and then after each contact. Returning exhausted to Najibabad the same night, they slept on the railway station platform. As usual, the Mandali took turns keeping watch. During the night, at one point, 2 small urchin boys started walking toward them. Just as Adi held up his hand to motion the boys away, Baba woke up and, propped on his elbow, waved to the boys to come forward. He permitted the boys to lie down beside him on his bedding roll. Baba covered them with his arm and went back to sleep.
Wow. Oh, what a sweet story.
That's why
You just never know, huh? Wow.
The next day, Baba went back to Sahanpur, the village a couple of miles north of Najibabad, where he contacted more Mas contacts. We'll leave it there. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Well, shall we say Avatar Meherabad Ki Jai 3 times? All righty. Avatar Meherabad
Baba Ki Jai.
Avatar
Mayor Baba, Jay,
Jay.
Barbara,
Thank you,
Mayor
Baba.
Key,
Jay.
Baba.
Yay, hooray, what a wonderful meeting.
Thank you,
Thanks,
thank
all.
you.
Thank you, Angela.
Robin, what are you showing us? Maybe
It's called The Most Disobedient, am I
Yes.
on,
you are.
okay. It's called The Most Disobedient Son. It's the trailer, Rochit Ganwani. And
Okay.
it's on YouTube. It's not very long. It's like a minute. But the movie's gonna come out soon.
Oh, the most.
The Most Disobedient Son.
Okay. All right.
Mayor Baba.
Thank you, Robin. All righty. We've got all the latest info. Thank you.
We should make this a regular thing.
It is a regular thing.
Oh, I know, I don't come very much.
For 4 years, it's been a
Yeah,
regular
we don't
thing.
either. We don't either. Jim more than I.
We don't, but having fresh blood from Indian Fest, I guess that's kind of whatever, fresh energy.
There you go. Blood.
Yeah.
Give us your blood.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your encouragement. We are planning a trip, but we don't know when. We have to wait to hear Baba's timing, which maybe we'll find out.
May have started this morning. It's wonderful.
Yeah, go sooner rather than later. And I just did a Google search. Now you can just search on Google, and I looked for the cheapest fare, and that way Baba picked the times. That's why I picked that particular week. I mean, we wanted kind of vaguely February, and I looked in February and I just picked the cheapest, and it was a 10-day trip, which means 8 days in India, and that's why I chose it. Because to stay for Baba's birthday would have added like another whatever, like $600 per person. So, so I was like, well, what the heck, we'll just go for the short stay. I liked it. I mean, it's intense. It's physically grueling, but the intensity also made it that we did everything and it was high priority. You know what I mean? Like you stay for longer and it's like, oh, I'll get to RT sometime. Oh, I'll just do this, that, and the other. I'll go into town. And yeah, this way we hit town, but we also we hit every RT. We hit Dooney. We hit, we had a couple of times of sitting at the Samadhi.
Could end up in the soap business back at Meherabad, I think.
Soap business?
Angela?
Yeah, Dr. Jim.
I'm going to disagree with you just a little bit. I was there for 4 months. And one of the experiences that I had this particular visit was actually this happened the first week that we were there in November. I went into the Samadhi and I had a schedule that was being worked out where I was working 4 mornings a week and then I had 3 mornings off. And I walked into the Samadhi and I very clearly got this message. Your duty is to be here on your off mornings.
Oh.
So it was, yeah, you can get complacent.
Yeah.
But there's a whole nother.
But if you got orders, you got orders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it is real. But I was experiencing that towards the end, people are like, oh, stay longer, then you can come to my house, and stay longer, I can go there. It's like, well, I'm glad that, the priority was RT, Samadhi, it actually
well, it's a different rhythm too when you're there for a long period.
Very different rhythm.
You're not trying to jam all this stuff in yesterday,
Yeah, I get it.
It's more of a marathon. It's a pace that you have to set so you don't get burned out, because
exactly after 4 months you'd be like completely
they go and they think they can do this high energy thing continually on and on and on, just like they did when you go for 10 days. And
yeah,
it's just, well, not for me at least,
Well, when we first got to the Meher Center, when we first moved to Myrtle Beach, we were doing every single meeting. We were there for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not Wednesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then there'll be Circle Center stuff. And then, so that would be like, another 6 hours on a Circle Sunday. And then and then there'll be Serenity meetings on a Tuesday. And yeah, so you can't keep that up forever.
You gotta pace yourself.
You got to pace yourself. You can't do that and live a life too.
And still have you still have to make priorities,
Yes,
That's
true.
Kathy Riley has just appeared.
Kathy Riley has appeared. We stopped recording, but she has appeared.
Oh, but no, we're recording.
Oh, we're still recording. Oh, good. She's still in it. Kathy.
Where are you, Kathy?
Yeah, it's so nice to see you all. These are all the people who have gone, and are there, like Susan and Daryl, you're thinking of going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard how Teresa, you just got back, right? With Jay and Barbara, right?
Yeah, I traveled from Montreal and we met in Mumbai and we're there for just over 2 weeks. Yeah.
Diana, when are you going?
That's a good question.
Ooh, peer pressure.
That's a friend to a friend, not anything else.
Just Baba knows. Baba knows. Whatever that Indian phrase is. Does anyone know that phrase?
Baba
Johnny.
Baba Johnny. Yeah.
I think I had my most exciting sound and light show in India that I'd ever had, because the monsoon started in the middle of a concert that Cindy and Ted and I were doing, and the lightning would strike just at the high point of the song, and the thunder would roll just as Cindy strummed her last chord.
Oh my God.
It was just so much fun, Baba and the monsoon rains were so loud that poor Johan was trying to jack up the sound so that it wouldn't, but anyway, it was definitely Baba's fun time. It rained so hard that after the program, the rains kept going so intensely that nobody could walk to Artie.
Oh.
And Ted said he had never seen a rain like that since 2006. Anyway, we decided to do Artie in the dining room because, we couldn't get to the tomb. And we faced, that beautiful big picture of Baba with the tiffins, the sort of the picnic picture at the back of the dining hall. And we all said Artie, and then we sang in that dining area, which has fabulous acoustics.
Mm.
And so so touching, because the kitchen staff came out, took off their shoes outside the kitchen and said Artie with us, which was very, I don't know, particularly touching to me. So that was a high point for me. Baba's power manifested.
Mm.
Was that concert recorded? I seem to remember a concert with, I don't know, lightning, natural wonder.
Yeah. At a certain point the week before, when I showed some Tom Riley snippets and talked about his book, when he was in the middle of telling one of his stories, I think the lagoon cabin story, the projector just blew up. And all the lights went out. It was just like there was so much energy in that lagoon cabin story of Baba and the light in the lagoon cabin that the projector kind of died for about 3 or 4 minutes before it could be resuscitated. So that was another high point for me.
Wow.
Baba, isn't Baba wonderful?
Yeah. Oh, you'll have to look at this meeting, Kathy. We've had such a great time, such energy. Books really brought it home.
I'll make sure to do that.
Thanks for documenting the area. Kathy, thanks for making that documentary about the Meherabad, Meherabad, it sounds like, and the trust office. Did you do a tape that we can watch?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
A tour of Meherabad and Meherabad.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I actually did a
We'll
little tape.
look for that.
Yeah, it's boy, it brings you up to date, that's for sure. And the wonderful newly fresh painted the trust compound. Boy, has that changed since I've been there. Boy.
Yeah, it was a meeting on Zoom. Here's the link in the chat. You can just search Kathy Riley and it'll come up a tour of Meherabad Meherazad.
Great.
Thank you.
By the
Hey,
way,
I love that picture behind you, Angela. And as Kathy said, isn't Baba just great and greater and greater? And so I want to read this. I started reading Letters of Love again that Jane wrote. And this is the beginning. And I just thought this really says it all. Elizabeth wrote on 8/18/1957. Darling Baba, what is there to say that matters except that I love you more and more as time goes on, and events in life make me ever more conscious of your nearest and dearest presence. How about that? Beginning of a letter to Baba. That's it. That sums it up for me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I've got to go.
Jim,
We all do.
I think we all have to. Jim, was your hand up from now or before? Your hand? Oh.
no, I just
Your hand's
brought
still up.
My hand was up.
That's talking to Jim.
Oh,
right. It just brought up the trust, and for those of you who know the area, Falu, who's the now the trustee, the chairman of the trust, has put a lot of effort in now to. They've done a lot of landscaping inside the trust compound, based on Meherazad gardens. And so you go in there now and there's a lot of really beautiful, plants that they've put in there, and they've cut down trimmed some trees, and it's just it's such a different experience. And it's really pretty. And it's an ongoing project, but all the local residents are like really happy with it. So
that's
good to know.
Good to know.
Also, there's as they call it, a flyway, I guess. It's like an off ramp that takes.
oh yeah, the flyover in Nagar, now when you take the flyover through Nagar, it dumps right outside the trust.
Right at the petrol pump.
Right at the petrol pump. Right. Boom, there you are.
Wow.
Which is the weirdest thing. We took a bus from Meherabad to Meherazad, and for some reason they stopped us there at the gas station, and we had to, like, all 50 of us are in the bus watching them put gas in the tank. Like, can't they do this when we're not in the bus? Like, so yeah, I know that gas station. Actually, it was a different one, but it was similar. Yeah, it's just the funniest thing. So
Right.
twice this time we had to sit there getting gas. One was on the bus, and one was a rickshaw driver, and he was like getting gas. I'm like, why are they doing this when we're in the vehicle?
I want to say about the weather. We
Yeah.
left on Wednesday, and it was up in the high 90s, and it's getting up there and should be in the hundreds pretty soon.
By
so
by
just be
next week,
aware.
it'll be over 100.
Yeah.
Every day.
Just be aware of the weather.
When do they shut down the NPR, and don't they shut it down for a while?
Actually, the NPR is now open through April, and then Hostel D opens up May 1st.
But Westerners can't stay in Hostel D.
Right, you
so-
can't go to Lower Meherabad, so that's a done deal.
Well, and the weather's still the same, isn't it? Still hot at that time?
It's hot. Yeah. It's even hotter.
Yeah, not the best time to go.
Well, unless you like heat,
Well, but for the non-Westerners, it's a good place. I mean, it's fine, so they don't have a problem with it. But for us,
It's an amazing kind of heat, though. Like you said when we were there, like even the 80s and 90s was a very dry heat, like
it's like
5% humidity or something. Like, You put clothes out to dry in an hour, you go back and it's dry.
We don't need a dryer in the house. We just put them up on the line. They're done in an hour.
Inside the house. You don't even have to put it out in the sun.
Yeah.
It's just so dry.
How does that feel? Do you feel hot?
You don't feel it until you start fainting from dehydration. Like
Actually, it's very tricky because it is so dry. You know, if you're particularly from the East Coast or the West Coast, you're used to have that humidity barometer in your body, and your body tells you things and you're used to it. And it's a different story because it's so dry that you don't feel it, as well as the fact that the sun, Monty told me this, that the sun is the sun is the most powerful in the world there. And so, one has to be very, very careful.
You have to wear head coverings and drink lots of water and electrolytes and everything. And people don't realize how quickly they can get sunstroke.
Yeah, it catches up with you. And as Noel Coward said in his song, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the noonday sun.
Yeah, Cliff actually had a day where, that Wednesday, the day after we arrived, we went down to Lower Meherabad, and I think that he got like kind of a heat stroke because the next day he was really groggy and had to drink so much water. But Ken and Betty went recently. Betty for her first time. I wish they were here, but they actually had something to do. I told them about this meeting. She had the most amazing time, and she's still listening to the RT at the Samadhi every day because she's just so in love with Baba right now. Like, I mean, she'd been coming to Baba for some years now and coming to the center and spending whole winters. And the first trip to India was just like, oh, it pushed her way over the top. She is just like in such a honeymoon with Baba. Anyway, Ken also had an experience where he was just sort of like feeling a little bit faint. He propped himself up at the Samadhi on one of those posts and he tipped over. He just kabammed. As he did it, he was like, oh wow, this is a great place to go. If I gotta go, I could just die right here. I mean, like, oh my God. So yeah, he was resuscitated and drank a whole pile of water, and he's up and kicking, but I will say, don't take it lightly. It's a physical ordeal to be in India, and be wary to drink a lot, but drink the right water, eat the right food, get as much sleep as you can on the trip over and the trip back, because it's a long journey. Yeah, but definitely go if you still have it in you, because no doubt it's not the sort of thing you can take for granted that you can go later. It's not necessarily going to be the case for our older bodies.
And we learned that from the pandemic.
Yeah, you just never know.
I
You
want
never
to
know.
encourage all of you to come to Huma Zuma this afternoon.
Oh, yay.
Well, it's not happening this afternoon.
Oh, no.
Oh, because the choir has a big event.
Oh.
The choir, the Maya choir. I'll take that out of the recording.
We're trying to name our choir.
Bye, y'all. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba love.
Bye, Susan. Bye, Daryl.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for this
Betty.
Good to
meeting.
see you. I'm glad that you came.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Bob, Daryl, Susan.
Hey, thanks for coming, Kathy. Sorry, last minute, but
Yeah, thanks.
we got your 2 cents in.
Yes, thank you. Wonderful.
Great to meet you, Therese. Wow.
Yay, Teresa! Such a bright light you are. Always happy.
I had really enjoyed hearing your story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You should see her in person. She's just smiling all the time. So sweet.
Oh, likewise. And yeah, I look forward to
Nice
seeing
meeting you at
everyone
the
again
NPR,
here or
Teresa.
in India, Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, all the above. All right. Jai Baba.
Here we go. Javatar Meherabad.
Baba ki jai.
Okie dokie.